Perfect.
All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast online radio and TV network, restoring vitality to you and to the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Patton. Joining me, as usual, is Martin Batella, Life Enthusiast health coach. Martin, we're going to be talking about something that's very, very important. You know, calcium goes in the bones and everything else, and you would think that eating calcium would mean more calcium into the bones. But our bodies do some amazing things, and it's not actually the calcium that we drink or eat that becomes our bones. It's the silica. And unfortunately, silica is depleted in all of our soils, all of our fruits and vegetables, all of our food. We're not getting anywhere near what we used to get, which means this is the stuff that holds everything together. And it's kind of like an important issue. So, Martin, tell us a little bit more about silica.
So first of all, we need to understand that silica is a silicon dioxide, SiO2. So that really is just a misnomer. We should be talking about silicon, which is the Si, the 14th element on the table of elements, because that's the ion, and the SiO2 is the atom of silica. And that's not what we're talking about, because that's what it starts as. The quartz, the stuff that you're walking on when you're walking on a sandy beach or lakeshore. That's what the plants take out of the soil and turn into their own bodies. The plants that are really rich in silicon are horsetail, oats, and bamboo. Bamboo is the strongest plant you'll see. The structural strength of it is world famous. You probably will remember the story of if you want your horse's coat to be shiny, give him some oats. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anyway, so it is that which is responsible for the structural integrity of our bodies. Silicon is the element from which most of our elastin and collagen are made. And those are building blocks of the connective tissue in our bodies. Connective tissue is your entire structure. Like, for instance, your liver is a matrix of connective tissues. Visualize sort of something like a stocking or a fishnet, like a skeleton of your liver. It's going to be porous, but it's going to be like like a basket maybe. And on it are stuck all the specialized liver cells. Your bone, again, is an elongated matrix of connective tissue, and on it are stuck the bone cells, the calcium, actual calcium, that's making the bone solid, hard, stiff. So that's one part. For instance, if you take one atom of silicon, and add to it one carbon, you end up with magnesium. You take silicon and oxygen, you end up with calcium. And that's how this is built. Kivran came to this through observation. What he saw when he was observing his chickens, of all things, that a chicken will continue to lay eggs even if you remove all calcium from the chicken's diet. How is this possible? The egg has a shell that's all calcium. How can it be that the chicken is continue to make eggs with calcium shell where there's no calcium in its food? And then he found out that by restricting silica from the silicon, again, from the chicken's diet, then the egg production stops. And this was the initial discovery, and from that he goes into developing all of these incredible equations that in a living body that's normal, but we should call it magic, because in a laboratory this is an impossibility. It's called protonization, where you move a proton from one element to another, thereby converting well, as I mentioned, say silicon into calcium. So jump forward another about 80 years. Now we are in France again, and a scientist by the name of Loïc Leribaud is researching how to make regular silica into something organic. And he discovered a way of making methyl sodium trilane. I may not have the name exactly right. It's a chemical formula. We can post it nearby. Anyway, it's an organic, and by organic we mean that it includes carbon formula, which makes it readily absorbable by a human or other animal body. So now we have a easily absorbable source of silicon that we can ingest. Clear enough, Scott?
Yeah, yeah. So basically what we're saying is, you're saying is we should get scoops of sand from the ocean and the beach and spread it all over our farmland because we need more silica.
Yes, yeah, and the plants would be able to take it apart with the help of the acids that are on the roots of the plants and convert it into the silica that's in the bodies of the plants, and then we should eat the plants, such as the oats. And from that we will develop the stronger structures, which will then be reflected in healthy hair, skin, nails, bones, ligaments, sinews, tissues.
And I guess we can all assume that we're not going to be taking truckloads of California beaches and sticking them in Idaho and Nebraska and all those places where they're growing
Probably not.
wheat and everything else. So what are some alternatives? Like, obviously we need to supplement this. We need to get our silicon back up. And I think we've got a few products we want to discuss specifically, right?
Right. So we have some products available that that we would like to introduce. Today, let's talk about products for nature.
Anyway, here we have the Organic Silicon G5 liquid.
Right. So there are multiple companies that have introduced the carbon-bound organic silica or silicon to the market. In this form, what we see here on the screen, it's a liquid with the silicon concentrate in it. What's good about this one is that it's double the concentration of the commonly available brand, and it also contains a bit of fructose and a soluble form of zinc, which in some magical ways a Swiss researcher has found to be more absorbable by the human body than another form. So the advantage of this, take 1 tablespoon of this liquid daily, you will get about 37 milligrams of
Silicon,
not molecular, ionic silicon. I was fishing for that word and it wasn't coming to me. Which is a wonderful dose that you could expect to resolve inflammatory issues in your body. By inflammatory, we mean things like joint pain, back pain, structural issues, lackluster hair. You can see it in the testimonial. If you have soreness in your physical structure, or if you have sagging or sinking of tissues, this is probably for you. So
right.
if you're older than 32 years, you'll probably want to be taking this. Yeah,
and we were talking to the people that are bringing it from Switzerland into North America, and they were telling me of telling us of a number of people who, for example, somebody had been hit by a chain across the face, and they were putting the gel. I guess we should say this for the gel one, but it stood out. Is they'd been putting the gel on the where the scar and the damage was, and after just a few weeks, they didn't think you'd actually be able to see the scar. It's quite amazing what happens when you have enough silica, and I think we forget. I think there's a couple things that go on. I just want to just bring this up, and one is, as we age, I think we think that it's normal for healing to be slower than when we're in our teenage years or our 20s, and it obviously is slower. I think nobody doubts that. But what if part of the reason is that we're just missing some of the nutrients that we had when we were younger? And silica is definitely one of the ones that we're missing. So I'm quite excited about the opportunity that it brings for restoring our health.
Indeed. So here we have, this product is available in the liquid concentrate, which is either this 500 milliliter bottle, or we have a super concentrate, which is double the silica in 10th of the volume. So that is this concentrate. So again, double the silica and 1/10 of the volume. This is a bottle with an eyedropper. The way you would use it is just a few drops in the mouth. You can swish it around, move it, push it, suck it. Just keep it in your mouth, move it around. As long as you can stand it, it's going to strengthen your teeth, your gums. But also, once you swallow it, it's going to go and work on all of your structural issues. And by structural, we mean the structure of your hair, your skin, your nails, your organs, your bones, everything.
Yeah, and there's kind of two parts to this. Is the body can absorb it through the skin, and the body can absorb it through drinking or eating it, however you want to say that, putting it in your mouth. And that's one of the things that with this concentrate, I guess you could do that if you wanted to put a drop on your sore or whatever, just so that or your sore knees or your sore joints, and have it absorbed that way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely possible. We also have the same G5 silicon concentrate available in the form of a gel. And that perhaps is the most convenient way to use it topically. In the gel form, it's a squirt bottle with a pump on top, 4 ounces of the gel, probably enough for any one person to last a month. You can use it, again, on all the body parts. Typically, you would want to use it on your hands or your joints, like your knees and elbows, or wherever it may hurt. There are some testimonies that indeed we can illustrate. This was a man hit with the chain. Just keep it on the screen, where you can come back to the website and see it in a larger scale, but you will see that the facial injury goes away pretty quickly. Within 2 weeks, the amount of repair that took place is significant. And the other image that was there was the collarbone of a lady that broke it, had an accident, and in a few 3 weeks, well, maybe 6 weeks, she, in using both the oral and the gel, ended up restoring her mobility and strength without surgery, without medication, and importantly, without pain. So use the gel for topical applications.
So there you go. One of the secrets to being healthy is having enough silica, and most of us, if you're over 32, bad news.
You do not find flexibility in milk. You find it in silica. Let's have Herman Monkey from Products for Nature tell us a bit what he knows about the world.
And I had worked with silica at a chemical company many years ago, and I actually was using it for auto polishes so it would stay on the automobile. And I saw in his work that he'd use a methylsilane triol, which the methylsilane was started with a group thrown into water, and it would form hydroxyls and methyl groups and stick to the wall. I found an acrylic that worked better, and we were #1 at every automotive company in the United States. And I had played with this, and I started adding potassium silicates and special combinations of acids at low concentrations. I was feeding it to plants. Now, the big companies are coming on with 1,000 parts per million and destroying all the agriculture because it chelates all the minerals out. The organic form does not. That's what you find in lettuce. It's very high in lettuce, by the way, but it's not easily usable. It's like any mineral. If you're lacking it, you need it. And 80% has been lost by the time we're an adult. And this is where it started. And this man found it when he burned his hand and stuck his hand in silica, and they've all been working on this. Many scientists have made attempts, but this new gentleman has achieved a better product by uniting it with the zinc and the fructose, which is a type of organic compound that tied it together so it'll penetrate the cell wall. The cell walls have a fat layer around with water-soluble material in between, and it needs something to carry it deeper than the straight silica, which was an organosilica compound. And I believe he's done the best. He's even made a plasma torch that is disintegrating radioactivity that's being improved for use in Europe. And this is why I chose him. After talking to him, he knew all the sciences I knew, every field of organic chemistry, which I'm familiar with. I also have a ham radio license. I've covered every field of science a human being could in my lifetime. And I recognize these people as making the greatest discovery that I think I've ever seen in history. And it was these strict actions when I found it. I was standing in line at some health food store, and a magazine, which I won't mention the name, I would never have picked up, and I did. Oh my gosh, Loic was on there, and about the silica. I brought it home. I found it on other magazines that were acceptable. I checked his research out for years. We've used it, but we've noticed in time either quality is gone or the product seems to be diluted. I don't know what's happening out there, but this man is not doing it. He's going the opposite way, and I believe he's done a wonderful job. And what we've seen with people, bones and joints seem to be the very best that we have come across and observing in its work, because basically I worked at Reichhold Chemical, only lab since World War II. In my background, my father, my brother, and my brother-in-law were all MDs. My mother, my wife, and my sister-in-law were all RNs. And these people, when it found out that I had a terminal disease to live 2 to 3 months, I lost them all as friends, believe me, even my own family, workers, because I went this road. And I am alive today at 75. I was 31 back then. So I've spent my life originally talking word to mouth. Then they came out with books on the subject. Well, it's like going through a rainbow, but you recognize the beautiful, let's say, blue colorations, while the rest are black and brown and rusty. Now internet has filled the place with rain barrels of this information. So I've done my best to avoid products and things that I figure have been falsified. I noticed that internet also has a wonderful group of people reporting where they're harmful, but also a very negative group reporting things that are valuable. So you have to search very hard. You have to know people like the ones that work with Ann Wigmore and along that line. So through this contact of people to books to technology, I have still been able to maintain this, and I've been training this gentleman and other ones to take on my work that I've done in these different fields of science. And I hope this will be what you're looking for. And if there's any questions, I wasn't prepared for this, but he's doing a good job, I feel, of trying to help us and learn the things I have. He can't do what I've done in these years, since I've been a research chemist. My father owned his own hospital in a 21-bed patient, x-ray room, surgical room, a whole bottom floor of Albion College was given to him. He discovered all the dyes in 1 month and had a letter from the president. I was 8 years old. You can find Herman Monkey on ions and orgone and on my alchemical classes. And you can find my background there, look me up and add it so you'll know my background. You will love the product, though. I've done my best. I'm not saying there aren't others that are close to this one, but I haven't seen it, and I've done that with my daughter. Almost went out of business because I wouldn't put soy products in the store because I understood the research behind it. And people still are fooled by that particular product. I'm not saying soybeans don't have a purpose, but it would make the paints. So, and acrylics came out, and I had to pull it off the market. I'm seeing the same thing with silicas. Most of them say it'll work, but I don't find powdered sand does much good in the bloodstream. In fact, we used to have a problem at Chemical with the fiberglass fitting into the valves of the heart. I know one product that would have been the all-stop safe thing in the world. The person had to go down to something called the Gerson's Institute, bring her blood pressure down 2 days, but she was 92. Her friend didn't listen. I said, that bottle is plugging up your heart valves, that silica. And she didn't. It was a fine fiber. Can you believe that? It was like asbestos. And she died a year later from the same high blood pressure, was brought under control very short time. This is why organic is so important. No matter whose version it is, organic must be the products you use if you want to use it safely. That's what horsetail is made of. If you don't believe me, look up the background of horsetail. Thank you, sir. I didn't mean to interfere. I wasn't prepared, but I did the best I could. That's the organic movement is succeeding.
Yes, exactly correct. The element is really important for your health. You probably don't have enough of it. The FDA has not bothered to establish the RDA, the recommended daily allowance for it. It's about 40 milligrams per day. So taking the tablespoon of the liquid, you get 37 milligrams, which is about the recommended daily dose. Use it to improve your flexibility, structural integrity, and appearance. It's one of the best things you can do for looking good and lowering your inflammatory symptoms, whatever they may be.
Great. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been the Life Enthusiast Co-op online radio network and TV network. I'm Scott Patton. He's Martin Patella. www.life-enthusiast.com if you want to know more. And we're here to restore vitality to you and to the planet.
Call us at 866-543-3388.